Okay, welcome everyone. We are so glad that you are joining us this evening. My name is Tina Veal, and I work at the Illinois State 4-H office, and my role is 4-H alumni director. So we are starting a new 4-H alumni association in the state of Illinois. So when you graduate from 4-H, you don't graduate. You get to stick it out and help be an active 4-H alum. So I am very excited that as part of my job, I get to work with the Collegiate 4-H groups across Illinois. And right now, our most active is at the University of Illinois. And so the students you see here tonight are presenting are from the University of Illinois Collegiate 4-H chapter. We also have a group that will be starting at Western Illinois. And if others decide to be formed at other organizations or other universities or community colleges, we'd be happy to work with you as you choose where you want to go. But tonight I'm very excited. I am a 4-H alum from Knox County, as well as a U of I alum, so twice. So got both my undergrad and my master's from Illinois. So I do bleed a little orange and blue with my green and white. So we're very excited to have you this evening. I will turn it over to Molly Boyd. Molly is our Collegiate 4-H president at this time. Well, she's in transition. We're in transition with officers, but for tonight, she is still currently our president. So Molly, I'll turn it over to you to get things started.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tina, for the introduction. It's good to see that you're here. I am a sophomore right now at U of I. My home county is Putnam. My extension office is in Marshall, Putnam, so it's a small county. And then my major is agricultural and consumer economics. And so now, if my other Collegiate 4-H pals will introduce themselves, you can start with your name, county, year in school, major, and then and I'll also please share your role within Collegiate 4-H.
I can go next. Hey guys, my name is Erin Curley. I am originally from McDonough County. My current major here is Human Development and Family Studies, and I am also a sophomore, like Molly, and I am the Vice President of Collegiate 4-H.
I can go next. My name's Colin Carmichael. I'm originally from McLean County. I'm a senior and I'm in physics. I'm the treasurer for Collegiate 4-H.
Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Talbert. I'm originally from Iroquois County, Fort Iroquois Extension. I'm currently a freshman at the U of I, and I am in agricultural communications.
Hi, my name's Caroline Ahrens. I'm a freshman here at the University of Illinois. I'm majoring in elementary education and minoring in Spanish, and I don't currently hold a position. But next year I will be president.
And then now, to the people who are joining us, you can also introduce yourselves by putting in your name, county, year in school, major you're interested in, schools you're interested in attending.
If you want to have people introduce themselves out loud, Molly, we might have some time for that with those that are on.
Yes, okay. If someone wants to introduce themselves out loud, or Claire or Maria, whatever way you want to do it. All right, and we'll just give a couple more minutes. You can go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat, or if you want to turn on your microphone, that works too. All right. Feel free to continue to write your introduction in the chat if you're still working on that. But now I will introduce a guest that we have with us today, Susan Kappas. She's the undergraduate coordinator of recruitment for the College of Aces. She's listed her email on here. And Susan, if you want to introduce yourself further, and then Susan will also be talking to us about a few various topics.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Molly, for that introduction. As Molly said, I work here at the University of Illinois in the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences. At the University of Illinois, we have over 150 different majors and areas of study. So many different opportunities. And we divide up those programs and majors into different colleges. So I know that can be that's always how I like to start, because it can be really confusing to understand the difference between, okay, University of Illinois, and then there's the College of Aces, or the College of Engineering, or the College of Business. Within the University of Illinois, these are all on the same campus. They are just different, kind of almost like departments or different units. And so within the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences, I work in our Office of Academic Programs, which is really kind of a fancy way of saying office full of people who are here to support you on your college journey. And that support begins while you're in high school, helping you to understand the admissions process, help connect you with in your interests with some of our different areas of study and the student experiences that we have. So that's why I'm really excited to talk with you today, give you a little bit of information about what the college admission process might look like. And then it's wonderful that you have a number of current students here who are going to talk to you about their experiences. And that's really one of the best ways to learn about what college is like, is to talk with current students who are going through it, because they have a really good perspective. And so I'm excited for our conversation here this evening. So I want to start out, if we can go to the next slide. Just to kind of talk about, as we think about going on to college, there are multiple pathways that you can do this. And there are multiple ways for you to kind of start to prepare. And some of you might be kind of earlier on in high school. Some of you, it looked like from the chat, are even in your senior year and maybe making that college decision, or you've already made your college decision, which is great. But there are lots of ways to prepare, and we're going to go into breakout rooms, I think, later to kind of have some of those conversations. But there are 4 things that I always recommend, regardless of what stage you're at. And the first one is to really begin conversations about kind of what comes after high school with your counselor, with teachers, mentors. Those can be family members, they can be older siblings or cousins that are in college. Just start having conversations about what college is like, what some different options are. So one of the best things to do, and that's something that you can start, that you might already be doing at school, but don't be afraid to kind of have those conversations. The second one is even beginning your first year in high school, start to think about admission requirements, because depending on what path you want, there are going to be certain classes that some schools might require and others might not. Usually your guidance counselor at high school is one of the best resources to help you through this. And so if you're interested in something like engineering, making sure that you're taking math courses and science courses is really important in high school. If you're interested in, more like agricultural communications or business, some of these things, there might be a different set of classes that are important for you to take. So always start to have those conversations with your counselor, with your teachers, and just start exploring college websites. And every college has an admissions page, and it will list out what some of the different requirements are. If you're not sure what it means, just ask. You can probably ask on the website. You can ask your teachers. You can ask your counselor. Just be sure to start kind of preparing, because we don't want you to get to junior year, beginning of senior year when you're applying, and to have a, oh, I wish I would have moment. So just start thinking about it. Don't stress out too much. Just something to start kind of thinking about. Then as you're kind of going through this and freshman year, you can start to think about what you might want to study in college. But sophomore and junior year are really great times to start exploring this and diving into what your interests are and how that might relate to your path after high school. There are lots of ways to do this, and I can talk through some other things. But again, these are all kind of conversations that you can have with your teachers, your counselors, your mentors about areas of study. And then the fourth one is, don't be afraid. If you have kind of a list of, or you have some schools in mind, it sounds like from reading the chat in your introductions that some of you have kind of already made a list of maybe schools that you're considering. Don't be afraid to go to their website, to request more information, to sign up for a campus visit. One of the great things is that on-campus visits are fantastic and always a great approach. But if you're not quite there and you just want to learn more about a school or a program, there are usually quite a few virtual options that you can kind of use and explore as well. So there might be video content where you can take kind of a video tour of campus. Schools' social media accounts are great ways to kind of see what's happening on campus and just start to explore some of these different options. And then once you've done that, coming to campus for a visit is a fantastic next step. So these are just some general ways to start kind of preparing and thinking about kind of college. So on the next slide, I want to also highlight that there are multiple pathways to getting your four-year, your bachelor's degree. So there's sort of the first year pathway where you would apply to a four-year institution, a four-year university during your senior year in high school. But another really great pathway is to go to a community college and then transfer to a four-year college where you would get your bachelor's degree. So there are multiple pathways. Both are great options, and it's really a matter of finding the pathway that makes the most sense for you in your process, in kind of your situation. The next thing that I just want to talk about, now I'm talking really high level right here because it can get kind of overwhelming. As we talk about the college application process, there are like kind of words that people use that can get kind of confusing. And so I just wanted to go through and talk about the very basic sort of process. So whether you're applying as a first-year student in your senior year of high school, or you're applying as a transfer student, the process looks somewhat the same. And this looks the same whether you're applying to the University of Illinois, which we hope you do, or you're applying to other colleges or universities. In general, the first kind of phase of the application process is to complete your application. And to do that, there are multiple ways, multiple pieces of information. Likely your high school is giving you some information about kind of how to do this. But there are lots of people kind of here to help. And there are great resources on college admissions pages as well. At the University of Illinois, our first year students have the option of applying directly through the University of Illinois' application platform called My Illini, or you can apply using the Common App, which is an application platform where you can apply to multiple colleges and universities at kind of using one platform. So there are kind of multiple ways to do that. But during that phase, you're kind of collecting all of your all of your application materials. They're going to ask about what classes you took, your grades in those classes. They might ask you to share any activities or leadership positions that you've been in. And you might also answer a few essay questions. And what this looks like at each school is a little bit different, but in general, most of them are, at least at the University of Illinois, are a couple of short answer kind of essay prompts to help us understand that process. One of the other pieces of information that you might be providing are your SAT or ACT scores. Some colleges and universities require that you submit those test scores in order to apply. Others make those test scores optional, or they don't, and so they're not requiring them, but you have the option of sharing them. At the University of Illinois, we have moved to being test optional, which means that if you have an ACT or SAT score that you would like to share, you can do that. During the application process, you have they'll ask you once, would you like to submit those test scores? And you can say yes or no. At Illinois, it is kind of a one-time decision, so you can't say, no, I don't want them included. And then maybe you've retaken the test and you've gotten a lot better score and you now want to submit that test score. Unfortunately, at that point, you can't go back and say, oh, wait, I'd like to do it. So when you make that kind of determination of whether you're going to submit your test score or not, it's kind of, sort of a final decision piece there. That's just how Illinois does it. But again, you can submit your test score. We always say that if you feel like your test scores accurately reflect your ability, then it's a good idea to include them. It always helps the admission reviewers to kind of have some, another piece of information in making their admission in the admission review process. But if you're not a test taker and you're like, I'm just not great at tests and I don't feel that my score is, kind of accurately reflects your ability or what you think your ability is, then you don't need to submit it. And what that generally means is that it's just one less data point. You are not penalized for that or anything like that in the admission review process. They might just look a little bit more at the other pieces of information that you share through the admission process. So that's the application. Once you submit your application, this is the part that it starts to look a little bit different depending on what college or university you attend. So at the University of Illinois, you will submit your application. There will be specific sort of timelines for this. Usually our application opens at the beginning of September and is opened through January 5th. And there might be some priority deadlines in there, usually around November 1st, that we encourage students to apply by in order to get that, to kind of have the best chance for scholarships and honors programs. But you really do have until January 5th. So, and then while the colleges or universities are reviewing your application, you will kind of go through this little time where you may not hear from them as much anymore. And then once they make their admission decision, you will get your college notification. And so this again happens at different points in time for different colleges and universities, and we can get into that. This year, for example, at the University of Illinois, everyone found out whether they were admitted to the University of Illinois at the end of February. So even students that applied in September or applied in middle of December all found out on the same day. So that's just sort of our process. Other colleges and universities, you might hear back sooner than that. And that's just kind of a different process that each college or university has in their admission review process. So you get that college notification. You might, then you get to make the choice, right? So before that, once you submit your application, that's kind of when colleges and universities look to see how your the major that you're interested in kind of aligns with your grades and your program background, and to see if it's a good fit. And then once they notify you of your admission, you get to make the choice of whether to accept your offer of admission. Generally, there's sort of a national deadline that all students make their their first year college decision by May 1st. So we are about a week away from that decision date for this year's seniors. So that's kind of the general process. So that goes from application to notification to this time frame where then you get to make your college choice and college decision. If you're interested in learning more about the application and admissions process specifically for the University of Illinois, I included the website there. I will also put it in the chat. Every college and university is just a little different. So I always recommend, if you have your list of maybe 3, 4, 5 universities that you're interested in applying to, go to their application or at their admissions page. It's pretty easy to find if you Google it. And you can look at each of these program or at each of the criteria and admissions process. So that's just kind of a general overview. For students who are interested in transferring, essentially, you don't have to worry about it. You can choose the community college that makes sense for you. It might be your local community college. Some students do go out of district occasionally if there's another community college that has a program that they're interested in. And then you take a series of courses. Those courses will then transfer to the four-year institution that you are interested in. It's always good to start connecting with with those colleges and universities that you might be considering, to make sure that the courses that you're taking will transfer and help you kind of on your four-year graduation pathway. And then once you're ready to transfer, there's a similar sort of application process that you go through with the application, notification, and making your decision phase. So that's kind of the overview of some pathways to college. On the next slide, one of the questions that is really common is how do you pay for college? And we'll get into some of this in a few minutes. But one of the things that I like to point out is at the University of Illinois, specifically within the College of ACES, we award merit-based scholarships to our students. So last year we awarded $3.5 million are available to ACES students in merit-based scholarships. And so if you are a first-year student applying, your application to the university doubles as your application to be considered for any of these merit-based scholarships. So you don't have to search on our website to find those scholarship opportunities. We will contact you. And so that's sort of how this works. Again, other colleges and universities might be different, but we know that you've taken a lot of time to fill out your college application, and that really has a lot of the information that we need to make those scholarship decisions. The other piece of it is that, especially with your involvement in 4-H, there are likely multiple and numerous scholarships that you are eligible for in your local community. So talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors, talk to maybe friends who are older who are going to college, see what scholarships they applied for, and especially, kind of older 4-H members. This is a really, there's lots of opportunities, and spend your time maybe filling out those local scholarship options that you can use likely at multiple, or at whatever college or university that you choose. So that's just a little bit. So there are scholarships. That is the other thing, and we can talk a little bit about college cost and all of that in a few minutes. But when you look at a college or university's cost, you do want to take that into consideration but also don't let that be a barrier to applying, because you don't know what types of merit-based scholarships you might be eligible, as well as financial based scholarships that you might be eligible for as well. So what that final number and cost of tuition looks like once you've kind of gotten your admission decision may not be what that number is when you just do that college search. So it's always good to kind of see what type of merit or financial scholarship package that you get from a university, and then help use that to kind of make your final decision. So always like to kind of put that out there. Oh, great. Yeah. Local extension offices are also a really great. They're not only could there be some within your local extension office and through 4-H, but also, your extension team is very connected to your community. And so they likely know, even if it's not through them, of other resources. So that was kind of an overview of the college admissions process. I'm happy to answer more specific questions about the University of Illinois. But we can also kind of go into some breakouts so that you can talk with current students as well.
Yes, thank you, Susan. So we're going to move on to the next slide, and we're going to be discussing what can I be doing now. So if you go to the bottom of your screen, it should say breakout rooms, and in a little bit, you will be able to select on whatever age category you are. If you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, if you're a parent and you want to go into whatever breakout room, that works as well. And then while we're in those breakout rooms, the current students, Collegiate 4-H members, will be discussing what you can be doing now. And this is also a great time. If you have any questions, maybe you don't want to share with the entire group, you can go ahead and answer those. And we will be going through some more slides as well when we come back. So you can join your breakout rooms now.
Claire says that she doesn't see an option to join a breakout room. And also I don't know if I should, but.
I don't see one either, Erin.
I'm having issues too. So if you go to at the bottom of your screen, if you don't see it, you can go, there'll be a bar at the bottom of your screen that says mute, stop video, or turn your video on. It may be under more. So if you click on the 3 dots and click, and you'll see a breakout room. And when you open that option, there'll be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior breakout rooms, and you should be able to go in and join the room that's associated with your grade in school. Does that help? I see a few have joined rooms. Taylor, is that helping you? Do you see it yet?
I don't see it.
I'm not seeing it, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those that
know.
have not joined, why don't we do this? If you have not joined, Go ahead and put in the chat room your grade in school. So if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and I will go ahead and assign those and put you in. So give me a second because you're all going to be coming in at one time. So I have Lily as a junior. Okay. And then I have Chris as a sophomore. Who is Zoom user? Zoom user is a sophomore. Okay. Andrew. Taylor, which one are you supposed to go to?
Senior.
Okay. Colin, you are going to senior as well?
That's correct.
Okay. Alon, you're a senior. Okay. We're going to get this. Madison, freshman. Pierce, let's see.
Caroline, what about you?
Pierce is a
I'm
junior.
in the freshman group.
Caroline, which one were you going to? Oh, she's in freshman.
I'm junior.
Okay. Pierce, I thought. Okay, Aaron, where are you supposed to go?
Junior.
Okay. All right. Alon, I believe I assigned you a room. Did you get a message to go there? Okay. Natalie, do you want to tell me where you need to go? Natalie, can you tell me in the chat what year you are in school, and I will put you in that breakout room. Or you can unmute your phone too if that helps. And Sonia, you're a junior. Okay, let me send you back to the junior room. And Natalie is a senior. Perfect.
That's just something to think about. Also, I guess I could explain this. There's like the University of Illinois as a whole here in Urbana-Champaign. And then within that, there's different colleges. So there's like the College of Media, the College of Engineering, the College of ACES, which is our agriculture college, agriculture and consumer and environmental sciences. And so there's various colleges that can get kind of.
Let's throw that in there. So here's a personality career test. If you guys want to take it, I'll like give you guys 5 minutes so we can talk about it if you want.
and that I try to continue to grow. So that is very helpful, to just stay involved and meet new people and just kind of network as well. And then you want to continue to build a brag sheet. So it's very helpful to just keep everything organized and write those down. So whenever you do apply for scholarships or schools, you have that all listed, which makes things a lot easier for you whenever you're going to apply. And also it makes you an attractive future student at the U of I or any other school. Also a future scholarship applicant as well. And then we really highlight apply for scholarships. Like I'm still applying for scholarships. It's very helpful. College is expensive. I'm sure all of you are very much aware of that. So just by preparing for that, you will have a lot of scholarships that you will apply for. Your senior and junior year, you will probably be stressed out with like all your little essays and everything, applications, but you will get through it. Just I always recommend making a schedule out so you know when the due date for scholarships are required. And so you kind of get to plan that out and just don't get overwhelmed and wait till the last minute. Because a lot of times you will need letters of recommendation, and you want to make sure that you get those about 30 days or tell the person that you're asking for the letters of rec about like 30 days in advance, because they appreciate that time, because it can take a little bit to type up. And so you just want to start those early so that you're not backtracked for everything else, because you will have other things on top of this
experience as well. So when you're looking at activities to be involved in, Collegiate 4-H is obviously a wonderful option if you're involved in 4-H. But you can also get involved if you're in a sport and you want to come and you want to do, I'm blanking on the name. There's club sports, but there's also intramural sports. That's an option. We have over 1,300 student organizations. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So there is something for everybody. You can find your niche wherever that may be, whether that is in the college basis, or if you want to expand outwards outside of the college basis as well. The next thing on our list was a brag sheet and or a resume, kind of looking at that. So you want to make sure that you are keeping up with everything that you've been involved in and keeping a running tab of things that you've done. So I know I have multiple docs that have, list all of my community service in high school. And then I have another one that kind of started in college. For my sorority, I have to have community service as well. So I kind of list all of that in there too. So that's something that I highly recommend you keep track of, and that you keep readily accessible, and usable for anything that you might need in the future. And then the last thing is apply for those scholarships. That is huge. I don't think I really truly understood how huge it was until I was in it. I was fortunate enough to get enough scholarships from my my high school, and then on that initial application, that I didn't pay for tuition this semester or last semester. I just paid for housing, which is really nice. It kind of cuts that bill in half. So if you can take everything that you've learned and you've put to good use the past 4 years, and you've been readily involved in academics and outside of academics, that's 100% a thing that you should do. Even throughout college, I don't think I really understood that either. Like that as a freshman, I'm still applying for scholarships because they will still give you more money if you continue to show that you are trying your best in everything that you do.
Can I ask you guys, have you guys applied for any scholarships yet? Christian and Elon, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, I did apply for some scholarships, but yeah, I'm still looking around for some of them.
Okay, one thing I wanted to mention specifically to the U of I, if you're applying for scholarships at the U of I want to encourage you to make sure to fill out your FAFSA application, because I know that for the U of I, for most scholarships, you need to have that filled out to consider it. And a lot of people coming in kind of make the mistake, they forget to fill that out, and then they end up being ineligible.
Like sports and clubs, and you could find interests within those clubs. So for me, I was in part of this environmental club and I was teaching, and then I learned that I really liked teaching. So here I am studying education here. So that is something like high school, you have time to do those different activities. Once you get into college, you can still be in clubs and activities like that, but you won't have as much time. In high school, it's kind of more smaller scale and you can have more opportunities. And that's also something that universities are looking at, like how active you are in groups and if you're able to manage, having good grades and being in activities. So that's just another thing to consider. And then also with being in extracurricular activities, like being able to relate that to like how it helped you grow. And those are great things to make college essays about and other things like that. So there's things to think about when you're joining clubs, like how is this going to help me grow as a person and other things like that. So are you guys in any clubs or activities right now? I know it's just your freshman year, but.
I am currently vice president of my 4-H club here in Illinois, and I will be president next year. So that's my big thing right now.
That's awesome.
I'm currently on an equestrian team.
That's super cool. Are you on the 4-H equestrian team?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. I know I have one of my roommates was on the state 4-H equestrian team, so very cool.
Yeah, nice.
So Madison, like, do you have any idea, like, specifically what you want to go into in like the medical field?
I thought about getting an associate's degree in nursing, or I'm not really sure yet, but something to do with medicine.
Okay, very cool. All right, good talking to you guys.
Yes, thank you.
I guess.
Susan, we had a question. Is there a place where you can find a list of classes you should be taking in high school if you know what like area of study you want to be studying?
Yes. Do we have time? Can I share my screen and I will walk through a little bit of that? All right. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen right now? Thumbs up. All right. So we are on the University of Illinois admissions page. So if you would go to undergraduate admissions, there is a lot of information here. And if you are curious about what the requirements are to apply to the University of Illinois, you can click on the apply button. And if you are a first year student and are curious, you can go to requirements. And it lists the different coursework. So probably the part that that relates to the question is kind of your coursework and grades. So English 4 years is required, math 3 to 3.5 years. So I'm not going to read through them. You can kind of see those. I can also put this in this page in the chat as well. The other piece, if you're curious about different majors, is that there is two ways to sort of explore. There's a page here that's academics, and if you click on it, there's a section called majors. This is going to list all of these 150 majors. This is sort of overwhelming. If you know what you're interested in, you can go, or you're kind of interested in comparing a few, you can go and say, okay, I might be interested in agricultural education. And so on this page, it's going to give you an kind of an overview of what agricultural education is. Another really important part is the review criteria. And so take a look at this. So in ag education, looking for strong English and social sciences, calculus and chemistry are preferred if they're available at your school, and then experiences related to your major. So that would be relevant to agricultural education. So these are all great things. Also, as you scroll down, you can see other really helpful information like some career options that are available. post-graduation success of students within this major and what their some sample employer destinations are. It also will list things like our graduation and retention rate. So 95% of the students that were in this major stayed in this major, which is really an important statistic. Their four-year graduation rate is 74%. Look at four-year graduation rates as you are comparing colleges and universities, because that will have a very big impact on your overall college cost. If most students in that program take more than 4 years to graduate, you may need to factor that into your costs. And you can kind of see some of the information here. Then you can see what we talked about, those tuition costs. Some of our majors at the University of Illinois are a little bit more expensive than others if you have more lab courses than others. And so you can take a look at what the program costs are. And this is annual cost, it's not by semester. And some of these, like the expenses here, are estimated. So those, may look different depending on what your housing choice is, depending on, some choices that you have. But this is just a kind of an estimate. Please don't get too afraid looking at this number, because again, it may not be this amount if you receive scholarships and additional aid. And so while this can help you get an idea, what that actually will look like possibly for you could be much different. So those were a couple things. And so that kind of helps you do that. There is one other page if you're interested in the College of ACES. It's our future students page, which is at aces.illinois.edu, where you can request more information and kind of connect with us. It's sort of like raising your hand saying, hey, I might be interested. Can you connect with us? You can also schedule a visit with us. And you can kind of discover your major. So this will just take us down to this section of the webpage. These are our 14 majors and programs in the College of ACES. If you were to click on any of these, if you are interested in food science and human nutrition, it gives you a quick overview. This link takes you to that program's specific web page. And then there's also a video that helps kind of introduce you to that program and major. So all of this can be a really helpful way to sort of explore different things. So I will stop sharing at this point, but that was a really long response, but hopefully that helped you see some different things.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about just different things that the University of Illinois offers. This first thing is the registered student organizations, or we like to call them RSOs. That's something that's really common at the University of Illinois, is shortening things and like making it really confusing when you're talking. I've learned that. But an RSO is a registered student organization. It's a club that's registered with the university. There are many different kinds, including social, professional, community service, and even sports teams. Each year, the day before classes start, so the Sunday before the Monday we go to school, there's something called Quad Day. So that's what that picture is that you can see, and there's a whole bunch of booths that has almost all 1,300 of our organizations set up. That includes all of our sororities and fraternities, both professional and social, and all of that, all completely up and available for you to sign up. Then we kind of get into our Greek life and social opportunities. Greek life can be a great way to make friends around campus and get involved with social activities on campus. And right there is the link to all of that. There are a few different agriculture dominant sororities and fraternities. For sororities, there's about two. There's 4-H House and then Sigma Alpha. A little bit later, I know they're going to get into 4-H House. That's a live-in sorority. And then Sigma Alpha is a professional ag sorority. So we don't have a house, but they meet weekly for meetings and stuff like that. And then I believe there's 4 ag-based fraternities, Farmhouse, Neighbor House, AGR, and Illidale. So if that's something you're interested in, you can also reach out to those specific pages. And like I said, they're going to talk a little bit more about 4-H House a little bit later.
Okay, so the University of Illinois Collegiate 4-H is a way to go beyond your county level and continue to be involved in Illinois 4-H. It's also an opportunity to grow your professional development portfolio. We focus on service, leadership development, professional development, and social. For example, for our service, we like to participate in community service. And this past year, we rang bells for the Salvation Army, which was a good time. I think we can all agree on that. And we were able to donate around $100 to Salvation Army. And for our socials, just this past week, we actually all went to a baseball game and we got ice cream. So we kind of have fun events that you can, get along with people who have similar passions as yourself, and just a great way to grow your leadership and professional development as well. So you can try to, apply for leadership roles like myself or Molly or Taylor. And so that's a great way to get more involved in organizations on campus. And you also have the opportunity to associate with 4-H alumni and kind of network and grow your skill portfolio as well. And also our Instagram, Facebook, and email information is at the bottom to the right if you guys are interested at all.
I also see that Susan asked, what's your favorite student organization besides Collegiate 4-H? So if each of us college students wants to go through, my favorite is Illinois Rowing. It's a rowing club on campus, and that's a lot of fun. What about you? I'll turn it to Erin Curley.
So I think a really cool one that I'm involved in is called Illini Lights Out. And so about like once a month, we will go and turn off all the lights across campus in the buildings. And it's a way to save money for the campus and also just energy and kind of help the environment, which it's pretty cool to see like everyone on the quad just walking around to all the buildings and turning off the lights, which is pretty neat.
Carol?
I am a part of intramural sports. So I played soccer all throughout high school. And so I enjoy continuing soccer here at the university, but kind of more on it's still competitive, but like less commitment. So it's a lot of fun.
My favorite one, probably outside of Collegiate 4-H, would be Collegiate Farm Bureau. So we're just like a section of Collegiate Farm Bureau. We go to meetings about once a month, and then we also do fun like outreach activities with local businesses.
Colin?
My favorite one besides Collegiate 4-H would probably be the Society for Physics Students, which is kind of, I guess, niche to my major. Obviously it's a club for physics students. One thing to keep in mind, I guess, maybe to sort of generalize this for people going into college, is I'd look around and see if there's a club or group maybe specific to your major or interest or people. Sometimes there's honor society, sometimes there's also regular clubs, and look to see if that's possible because those can often be pretty fun clubs to be in.
I also want to add one more. For those of you who are really, like love sports, we have like Orange Crush where you can get discounted tickets and you can go to football games or basketball games. And that's just it's an incredible experience and it's so much fun. For the basketball game this past year, when we won the Big Ten championship, I was able to storm the court, which was a really cool experience. So I definitely recommend getting involved in those type of organizations as well.
Yes, I second everything Erin just said. And with that, we'll kind of get into the work and school portion. So there are many opportunities for students to get positions on campus. I actually am a tour guide through the university. So I'm actually technically an employee, and I give tours 2 to 3 times a week, just prospective tours or students, which is really nice. Professors often will email you as well with work and internship opportunities. My academic advisor sends out an email once a week with a whole bunch of new job opportunities that goes to all of the students that he is in charge of. Student workers have opportunities to get to know faculty, staff, and alumni. So because of these opportunities, I've gotten to know like different people, maybe outside of my major and like in different departments, which is really nice. And then another nice resource that the university has is called Handshake. So it's specific for the university, and organizations and companies post jobs and or internships on this that are targeted at University of Illinois students. So you log on there with all of your University of Illinois login information, and then you can get to all kinds of jobs and opportunities like that. And also that second or third week of school, as a freshman, they require you to go to the career fair, which is really nice, and it's a really great icebreaker for you to be in an interview in less of a high stakes setting. And then as you go to your junior and senior year, those can turn into job opportunities and full-time internships.
If you are a senior at in 4-H currently, you would have received a email from me as well as the Illinois 4-H program. We are really excited to celebrate your success with 4-H and welcome you into the 4-H Alumni Association. You may have another year or so left in your 4-H journey, but you will have the opportunity to complete a survey to tell us about your 4-H experience, and we will be sending all of our seniors tassels. And so a picture of that tassel is there. I also have one here. We are experiencing some delays right now with some of the China shutdown with COVID, but we will have those tassels out to everyone as soon as we get them. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet to complete that survey and you are a senior, I know we have several seniors that are on this evening. There's a QR code as well as the link to that, and that is due on May 1st. And as soon as we get those tassels in, we'll be sharing those with you so you have an opportunity to celebrate your 4-H career as well. So as you look into your senior year, we're hoping those are things that will continue. So always watch for that because we want to make sure that you have that opportunity to stay connected to us.
Okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about classes and class load. So at the University of Illinois, 12 to 18 credit hours is typically what you'll take. That's 4 to 6 classes. And you can overload or take a lower class like load, but you just have to get it approved. Your class sizes, even though the University of Illinois is a really big school, your lectures will most likely be less than 100 students. For me, none of my lectures are bigger than 50 students, but it does just depend on your major. And for your discussion sections, it'll be between 10 to 40 students. And your class schedule, you plan yourself. So we have this amazing system. If you're a freshman coming to the University of Illinois, you'll plan your classes during the summer, and you'll work with your advisors on that. And so another really nice thing about the University of Illinois is that you'll have your advisors as a resource to talk about your class schedules every time you go to schedule for classes. And you can also make your schedules whatever you want. So you can make your classes all in the morning, all in the evening. So that's another really nice thing about college is you can really plan your days out however you want them to. And then also just remembering that you do have gen eds you have to satisfy while at the university, and to making sure you're spacing those out appropriately so that you can graduate on time. And then also with gen eds, sometimes you can double dip with your gen eds. So trying to figure out the best way to puzzle piece everything together to take maybe as few gen eds as possible by kind of stacking them.
Okay, now I will talk a little bit about a little bit about housing. So the first year that you live on campus, you're required to live in a certified facility. So there are various options for this. One is university housing. There are 15 undergraduate halls. And so these are like the dorm rooms. There's like the 6-pack. There's ISR. There's just a lot of different places that you can live on campus. And then there's also, and so those are your like maybe more traditional housing options for your first year. And then as you move in, so then there's also private certified housing. And so these are houses such as Stratford House or 4-H House, which you can see on the screen there with the 4 H's on it. 4-H House is actually a house that Caroline, Aaron, and I all live in. It's a cooperative sorority. And so that means that we do all of our own cooking and our own cleaning. It's a lot of fun. There's 55 girls that live in our house. And then we also have an annex next door that houses 4 more girls. And so it's a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I decided to live in 4-H House. A lot of amazing opportunities have come of it. The girls in the house are phenomenal. And so if you're interested in applying to our house or living in our house, feel free to tour at any time. You can reach out to us. And we'd be happy to have you tour if you're coming on campus to tour. So yes, and also the application for this, the application you'll fill out like your senior, if we also accept transfer students if you decide to be a transfer student, but if you're a high school senior, you apply like the spring before the spring before you would move to campus. So in January, February, March, look out for that application, fill that out. And then we also have interviewing weekends where girls come and interview, and then we send out acceptance, or I think it's a phone call that we send out, but I'll put the link to our website in the chat. So yeah, and then also there are certified fraternities and sororities. Okay, so yeah, that's like what 4-H House is. And I guess more examples of private certified housing. Taylor lives in private certified housing. Taylor, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so private certified, I kind of put in the chat about 75% of the freshman students are going to live in that university housing, and only about 25% are going to live in private certified. I like to say there's 4 main differences: the room size, the bathroom, the cost, and the dining hall. But you can get to all of that information on that website. I live at Bromley Hall, so about 750 kids live in that building. But there's also Newman Hall. Presby on there is the Henrik House. So it really just depends on your personal needs. And you also want to look into that, like what financially you can handle as well. But again, all of those websites are going to give you all of that information.
Okay, and so then a little bit about study abroad here at the University of Illinois. So I have not studied abroad yet, but I plan to in the next year. And so the study abroad at the University of Illinois has lots of different options. You can do a semester long, summer, or during a break, or some other options as well. Some of the advantages to studying abroad: you can develop more in your career and learn kind of some other perspectives and from another culture. You also will continue to earn credit for your degree and enrich your global perspective. And so it's just a really good opportunity to travel while you're young and in college. And there's so many options, some just like generally through the university, and also specific to your college. So I would recommend looking into that.
Okay, now we will answer any questions that you may have. We do have the questions. Oh, my camera's not on. We do have the questions, some of the questions that were asked. When you when you registered, so we can go through a couple of those. One question was, what helps you get noticed? Does one of my peers want to answer that?
I can talk a little bit about that. So if you're talking about what will help you get noticed on the application, the main thing is just remember that the person who is reviewing your application doesn't know you, and we won't have a chance to kind of meet or interact with you. So highlight your best self. And I think that brag sheet that was one of the recommendations in the breakout rooms is a really good way to think about it. What are those things that you're really proud of that you've done? And certainly you've been involved in 4-H and likely have a lot of experiences through that, as well as other clubs and organizations. Highlight that. Those types of things, are just to help the admissions team get to know you a little bit more in the kind of fields and spaces that we have. And so, yeah, I think those are kind of the main things. Don't be shy about putting down all of the things that you do and are involved in.
Another question is, what is a day in college life? I don't know, Erin Curley, do you want to answer that one?
Yes, I can. So it's very much unique for everyone. So I can give you like kind of what I experience. Of course, I get up, I have breakfast, and then I'll normally walk to class. I have a majority of my classes are on the quad. So it's about 10-15 minute hike. And I come back on Mondays, I'll have meetings for my house or my sorority. And then throughout the week, I'll have meetings around like 6 or 7 for the different organizations I'm involved in. And dependent on the time of year, I'll have basketball games throughout the week or football games on the weekend that I'll attend. And then just, socializing with my peers and just trying to make the best of my college experience. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but I don't know if anyone has anything else to add, but.
Thank you. I'll throw out a question to Caroline. What do you like best about being a U of I student? And then what do you like the least?
Wow. So I think what I like the best is that there's so many resources out there for you. All you have to do is look for them. So, I mean, with clubs, there's a club for everything. And there's like always someone in your college you can talk to and have as a resource. And there's also just so many things that U of I offers you because it's such a big university. And maybe my least favorite thing is it is a lot of walking, but it's a lot of good exercise. So kind of good and bad.
Colin, okay. We have a few questions coming in. I'll throw a question to Colin. How many hours of class do you have a day?
So I'd say that on average, I have like 4 to 5 hours of class today. One thing that they often tell you, I think this may be kind of as like a follow-up to that question. A lot of your time with classes will maybe not be, you'll have large breaks between classes. You won't have classes all the time like in high school, but they often tell you to put anywhere between 2 to 4, expect between 2 to 4 times as many hours as you do have classes per week to be spending on homework and other stuff. So a lot of it is more, you're more in control. So you have more responsibility, and you're given a little more freedom there.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna take one more question from the list for Taylor. Let's see. What was it? All right, let's see. What was your freshman, or no, not that question. Let's go with how does like college differ or from high school? Like how is the intensity different?
So that's going to vary on your specific major. My first semester was not as difficult as my second semester, but part of that was just the general education courses I was taking and stuff like that. It's very different in the fact that like I don't have school every day. Like I don't have to go to class every day. I have class 2 to 3 days a week. So that's really strange and that's an adjustment. But definitely just like stay organized. I have a Google Calendar that's very aesthetically pleasing, but kind of crazy sometimes. So staying organized with that. And pretty much like just the fact that you don't go to class every single day is kind of crazy, or that your classes are like an hour. But yeah, that's pretty much the biggest difference. But that course load is definitely going to vary on whether or not, you're in a higher level engineering class or course, versus some other course that you might be in that semester.
Thank you. I know that Susan did provide some information about horses and the animal science ambassadors, but does anyone on the team know anything about the equestrian team?
I found a link to the equestrian team's website, and so it looks like there was quite a bit of information there. I specifically don't know a lot. I don't know, Susan, if you have other recommendations, but that was a good resource I found.
Yeah, so there's an equestrian team, and you do not have to have prior experience, but if you do, great. That's one way to get involved. If you have an interest in getting involved and being involved with horses. I put a link to a YouTube video. We do have a horse farm, research farm here on campus that students can, especially if you have previous experience working with horses, you can get involved in. Actually, there is a foal watching course that you can take. It's like a 1-hour credit, and basically you go to the horse farm and you are on call making and waiting for that baby horse to arrive, and when you start seeing things happen, you don't have to worry about it. You just call and notify the right people, and if that's your shift that you get to it's kind of like winning the lotto. You get to kind of watch it all happen, which is kind of fun. But we have 7 different animal research farms on campus, and lots of crop and fruit and vegetable farms as well. So lots of ways to get involved. Those farms are located just south of campus. In fact, the horse farm is on the corner of where you park for the State Farm Center and the basketball games. So they're very accessible. Usually by car is the easiest, but we're talking about maybe a 5-minute drive. So they are not far away if that is something that interests you.
Thank you, Susan. Does anyone know anything about the honors program or the honors college, excuse me?
I can answer a little bit. I think Tina put in the link. For any of our honors programs at the University of Illinois, incoming first-year students who meet the honors qualification, and there's a couple of different types of honors programs, will be notified. So your application to the university, again, doubles as that application to be considered. There are a couple of main honors programs. There are a couple of campus honors programs, but the main honors program here at the University of Illinois is called James Scholars, and students across the university are James Scholars, but each college runs their own James Scholars program. And so because what goes into it looks a little bit different, but those are all things that you are invited into for your first year. But for James Scholars, if for some reason, if you weren't invited to be a part of that first year, you can apply to be a part of it once, second semester, freshman year, you can apply into that if it's something that interests you. So
I'll address the question too about working on campus. So previous to this role of coming back to 4-H, I was on campus and had the opportunity to hire students within the ACES Office of Alumni Relations. And so there are limits of times that students are able to work, usually 10 to 20 hours a week. I always try to keep students at 10 to 12 hours a week because they are, as you see from these students, very busy, very engaged, and lots of opportunities. But if you do need support financially, having a campus position and finding something that works for your schedule schedule, school always comes first with most offices. So if there's things that you're involved in or engaged in, or you have a test or a study program, those things usually come first, and you can work that out with someone that you're working for on campus. So Handshake is a great place to look for jobs on campus. They do post, a lot of the departments post there during the school year. So if you are looking for something, that's a good place to start. I did find a link for nursing as well, so I put that in the chat.
Yeah, that nursing program, they run it through the University of Illinois at Chicago, and they have like an outlet program at the University of Illinois. I have a cousin going through the program right now. So that's like a really good option to have that here on campus.
These are all great questions. Are there any that we haven't gotten to that I know we had a long list, a couple pages list of questions from all of you, and so I thank Susan and our Collegiate 4-H members for answering a lot of those questions. But if there's any, we've got a few minutes left. We want to wrap up by 7, so if there's additional questions, please let us know. You can put them in the chat, or you can unmute. We're down to a smaller group here, so.
Just putting a little plug out there for all of you who are exploring college options. I hope to see you on campus. I know when in our breakout rooms, we were talking about coming to campus for a visit. My favorite time of year for people to come for a visit is in the fall, because the fall is everyone's super excited to be back on campus. It's beautiful on campus in the fall. You kind of get the feel for campus life as well at that time of year. But if you are going to be on campus or near Champaign-Urbana this summer, or want to learn more about the programs, definitely join us for a visit as well, maybe both times. It doesn't have to be just a one-time thing. And we are going to be posting our summer visit sessions and opportunities in the next couple of weeks. We take a little break for students to be able to kind of do finals and kind of wrap up the semester, and then we'll start back up with visit sessions for throughout the summer. But again, come in the summer, but I really encourage you to come in the fall, and hope to see you.
It's a little quieter in the summer, so.
But it can be a great time if you do. Usually your visits are a little bit smaller, and you can meet with an advisor. We try and always have students around, but sometimes just because we have fewer on campus, we can't always guarantee that. But it can be a great time to have kind of a one-on-one conversation about maybe what you're interested in. You can talk with an advisor and kind of get that get questions answered about maybe the application and some of those things, and then get some of that background information. And I think there's going to be are any of the students on the call going to be here this summer? I feel like I've heard quite a few that they either have internships around Champaign-Urbana, or they are taking classes this semester and are staying around campus. So anyone staying?
I'll be returning to Macomb.
I'll be around, but I won't necessarily be on campus.
She's gonna recruit you guys.
I'll be taking one of those study abroad opportunities and going to Greece. So there's so many opportunities to study abroad, and that's where I'll be.
Awesome.
In 3 weeks, I'll be in Panama. So, you know, international travelers over here.
Are you going on the first year experience trip?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so that's really one of the great things about study abroad in the College of ACES. We have a program that beginning your first year on campus, you can go on a short-term study abroad trip. It's about 10 days in length, so not like a full semester or anything like that. But and I forget what your food and agricultural systems in Panama, right?
Yep. So we'll get to like tour a whole bunch of different ag facilities and learn about how agriculture in Panama looks different than agriculture in the United States. So currently I'm in an 8-week course where we kind of get introduced to some of the topics that we're going to learn about and stuff like that. And then we'll go on the trip, and I'm actually getting course credit for it, which is also a really nice opportunity to fill in your like extra hours that you need, that I get to go on a trip to do that.
Okay, well, I think we are getting close to our time. I'm going to ask each of the Collegiate 4-H members to give your favorite memory of or favorite tradition that you've done at Illinois so far. And we'll wrap up with that because those traditions at Illinois are strong. And so how about Caroline, do you want to start?
Just put me on the spot there.
I know, sorry. Someone had to be first.
I would say my favorite tradition was sights and sounds. So that's something you'll go to the first week you're here at the University of Illinois, and you learn all the fight songs and all the things like that. And it's really cool to see all your fellow freshmen like peers that are coming into the university and learn like these traditions that the university has. And then you go to the football games and the basketball games and then you sing them, and it's a lot of fun. And I feel like it really unites the whole student body.
Awesome. Taylor.
Well, Caroline took mine. I was like, that was initially my thought, but no, okay. So I really like that.
I think we've lost Taylor. She looks frozen.
But another probably like my favorite memory of this year was the floor. Can you hear me now? Okay, am I frozen now?
I hear you when you speak, but then you freeze again. Okay, now I see you moving.
Okay.
We may have to have you put it in the
Maybe
chat.
we'll get through. Maybe. I don't know. My internet's like unstable. Okay.
Okay, let's jump over to Erin.
Mine is probably definitely going to the basketball games. I love sports and basketball, and we have such a big group of kids in the student section. And so I get there about an hour early or two, depending on the day and the team that we play, just so I can sit right behind the basketball court. And it's a great experience. I sit by my friends and we root on our team. So ILL.
I and I. All right, Colin.
My favorite tradition at Illinois is probably going to be engineering open house, which they hold every year. Hopefully some of you have had the opportunity, will have the opportunity. Some high schools will bus kids out to go there. I know I had the opportunity to do that in high school, but if you go in high school, you can go and see a whole bunch of neat engineering and science related stuff at the U of I. And if you're as a student, then you actually get the opportunity to help run those exhibits and do stuff like that. You kind of be on the other end there. So it's very interesting.
And we've had something similar in ACES as well for many years. So those usually happen at the same weekend. And so that's always a fun time to be able to go and see things hands-on and visit with students and faculty. So I agree, Colin. I think that's a really neat highlight. Taylor, you're back. Do you want to try to share? You said okay.
Yeah, I put it in the comments, but definitely that Big Ten tournament game, or not tournament game, but the Big Ten championship game when we won that title and we're sharing it. But that was definitely fun rushing the floor and the confetti and the pictures we got from that. I really liked that game.
That was amazing. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with Molly. What's your favorite?
I really can't like pinpoint anything specifically. I think I just really love getting to meet so many different people, so many people that came from like a small town like me, but then also those people who have come from Chicago and who have never even like, I don't know, driven a tractor before. Just like the funny experiences, like just seeing a squirrel like run so close to you on the quad. just things like that. I just really love the University of Illinois. It's such a great place, so much fun, so many different people, and it's really as big of a school as you want it to be. There's so many students here, but I really feel that through the university, I've been able to find like a community of people, and it's really great.
Awesome. Well, if you can't tell, this group is very pro-Illini, and so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedules, sharing your experiences from the Collegiate 4-H members, and for Susan, spending a Sunday evening with us to talk about the admissions process and how to prepare yourself to come to Illinois. And so thank you all for participating. We will be sending out the slides to all of you as well as a follow-up questionnaire. I'm also going to try to go through and pull together all of the questions that were asked in the chat with some of those resources that were available. So hopefully midweek or so, you'll receive something back from us. And if you have questions or I can help get you connected to someone on campus like Susan, we'll be more than happy to try to do that and connect you. So again, thank you all for participating, and we'll look forward to seeing you hopefully at State Fair, if not sooner. Thanks all. Have a good evening.